This is the Pigskin and the Mosh Pit podcast. What's up, everybody? It's BigBri, and you guys are watching another Pigskin in the Mosh Pit podcast. Let's bring on the panel. First up, Purgatory frontman Jeff Hatrix.
What up, brother?
What is up, dude? How you doing?
I'm all right.
All right. Next up, we got from the Manimals, the man himself, Larry the Wolf. Up, Larry?
I look forward to that every week, Jeff.
Awesome.
Also, from Made in America, also Cleveland.com sports writer, Mr. Dan Gillis. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, everybody? I'm boycotting brown shirts until they win, so enjoy the acid bath shirt.
The acid bath is for this week. What's up, Jeff? Look at that. Got a new painting for us, a new did you just put that over, or is that all fresh and new from the start with the eyes and everything?
I drew on the other one.
Oh, you just covered it?
Yeah.
Is that removable? Will that come off of there at any point, or is that permanent?
No, I have a bunch of the other ones, so I just decided.
Oh, you can change them up. You can
I decided to depict the state of the team.
It's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad.
They need to shut their mouths and stop acting like they're not beat up.
Let's really get into this about just how bad they really actually are, because it's the record is now to a point where you got to say, all right, guys, this isn't a fluke anymore. This is seriously some garbage, and it's garbage. I mean, they're not scoring even 20 points ever this season. They have no running game. They seemingly can no longer catch the football. They can seemingly no longer tackle, which is another thing that's just like, what happened there, guys? All of a sudden, we can't tackle anymore. I don't know. I mean, look, it's the same dudes. It's the same dudes. This is the part that is so mind-boggling. You're just like, what the fuck? So I want to get into that with you guys. I'm sure we all have some difference of opinion. We also got Larry here. Everybody knows, if you guys watch the show, Larry's from a New York boy, and he is a Jets fan at heart, even though he loves them all, but at heart he's a Jets fan. So we always bring up the Jets, the parallelisms of the Jets, and the Jets are in the news right now because their coach was just fired, and that's always a hot topic here in Cleveland, firing Stefanski, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that a little bit also, of course. So first of all, the Browns, though, let's get into that right away. So what I want to ask you guys is this. Obviously, there's some main problems going on in this team right now. There's some things that are like it's hit everything. It's hit everywhere. It's not just like in one specific location are they hurting. It literally, it's like it's hard to watch any portion of the game. So it's like, what is it? I mean, what do you think is the overall biggest problem that you see? It's like a cancer that is now spread everywhere. What is it? I'm gonna start with you, Dan. I want to start with our sports writer, Dan Gillis. I want you to tell me what you think. What do you think it is, Dan? What's your perp?
I have my theories. To me, the biggest thing that stands out to me is the lack of cohesiveness on the offense, and the fact that you have a guy calling somebody else's plays. I think the marriage of Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski is awful. Two different philosophies, two different ways of running the football, and attacking and on offense, and it's like Stefanski doesn't know what plays to call, and Dorsey doesn't know what plays to call, and they're calling, and it's like it goes to translates to the offense. They can't get into any rhythm. They don't have an identity. Watson looks like crap. The receivers look like crap. The offensive line is garbage. It's the whole entire offense as a whole is just is pathetic. And the only thing they really did was they brought in Jerry Jeudy in the offseason, and he's been by and large one of the few that had actually showed up every week. Amari Cooper has regressed. He can't catch.
What the fuck?
And then when he's open, they can't get him the ball. Watson's inconsistent. And I've been a Watson guy from day one, but he's been inconsistent.
He hasn't looked good either. I mean, let's just be honest. There's not one guy, in my opinion.
No.
So you bring up Jerry Jeudy, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, like, dude, when you watch the other football teams play, okay, like we give our guys so much credit when they make a fucking shot. Like we're like, oh, he looks pretty good. But these other dudes, if you watch these other games on these teams, these guys take 6, 7, 8. We used to do that. I remember when the Browns had them games where our guys were doing that. We don't do anything like that anymore. Like we don't have any production anywhere. And whatever you want to say about Watson has not been good either.
No.
Nobody has. Not
No.
anyone. I'm not going to sit there and blame Watson, but I'm going to say he hasn't helped anything as much at all.
He hasn't.
So nobody has stepped up here at all. And to the coaching situation, I think you're right on this. I think that if your team is struggling as a coach, that's what your fucking job is. That's when it's your job now to do something. So if your team is struggling, what the fuck are you going to do, dude? Are you just going to go out there and roll out umpteen points a game, every game, and then next week look the same, have your quarterback sacked 8 fucking times a game? That's your plan every week? Like every week I think, well, it's got to be a little different, right? It's the same fucking game. It's like you're watching it again and again and again and again. And you're like, what the fuck? Do something, dude. Just do something different. Figure something out.
It's like whatever, except last week. But the first drive of the game, when they script the plays, they wind up scoring. They've scored in all the games except for the Washington game. But then it's like once they get that out of the system, then it's like, okay, now what? What are we doing?
So what do they do for 1 week? Practice one set of series of downs, and that's what they do for 1 week is practice that, and then they roll that out there, and they're like, all right, dude, now what? Is that what happens every game?
That's what
it looks like, right?
That's what it seems like.
Oh, it's so pathetic. It's so hard to watch. It's impossible to watch. It's actually impossible to watch. Jeff lets me know all the time how impossible it is. Right after the game, he'll be like, I'm done. Fuck this shit. And I think we all feel that way. I mean, like, dude, how much can you really take of this bullshit? It's gotten to a point where it's like, and there they go again. I like how Jeff puts it. Last year was like an anomaly. It was like this little like thing that happened that shouldn't have happened. And now you're looking at it and you're like, this shit should never have fucking happened. And what do they do in Cleveland? They always fucking draw us fucking in and make us fucking all like, oh, this is different this time. And then the fucking giant hammer just like a fucking insect. You're like, and you're like, every fucking time it happens. And that's why you react and you go, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this fucking shit. And then something happens and then we have a podcast. I don't know how it works, but I mean, like it is crazy, and it rips your soul out. It's like you feel like such a fucking sucker every time they pull this shit too. I think that's the part that hurts the worst is that you feel like a sucker. You feel like you motherfuckers because it's always fooled me. Fucking shame on you the first time, shame on me the second time. Well, we're on like time number 700. That we've been fooled now, and shame on us every time, I guess, So,
yeah.
anyways, that's that. So we got no running game, and we have Nick Chubb now, who is sitting there. And what the fuck are you gonna do with this guy now? You have almost zero chance of going to a playoffs at this point. And I mean, like, dude, we just got done with the easy part of the schedule. So you really got no chance of going to the playoffs. Are you going to fucking ring this dude out and fucking try to play him now? I mean, doesn't that seem kind of like asinine? What do you think about that, Jeff? What do you think about bringing out Nick Chubb?
I think he may be one of the only things that works if he ever gets back to full strength. If he is ready. What bothers me is I don't know how big our practice squad is. It should be full of offensive linemen, and I don't believe there's barely any there. And last year, that Garen Christian or whatever his name was, he worked, and I don't know where he is now, but he's better than Wills or Hudson. And
I don't know who's good.
This has been a years in the making terrible thing. Everybody's like, in Barry, we trust. It's like, not me. I mean, JOK is a great pick. Where's the rest? Emerson shows up when he feels like it, I guess. I don't know who else is worth the crap, but you survive by your draft picks. Like, you replenish your team that way. It's not through keeping ancient free agents. And we have not had one good class out of the last, I don't know how many years. I mean, I think Heckert was the last GM that picked well.
Well, you're right.
As an overall draft.
I mean, you're right, dude. You're absolutely right that if you look at our team, everyone's favorite players, none of them were picked by Barry. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, Nick Chubb, that's Dorsey. Fucking Baker was Dorsey.
And there's always these head scratchers.
And Njoku was the Brown or whatever. Who was our GM before Dorsey?
That was Sashi Brown.
Sashi Brown. That was Njoku, right?
And Garrett. And,
same year. So that's my point. I mean, it's like really, dude, he isn't responsible for any of the stars on this team, really.
JOK is really it. I mean,
he makes good trades. I listen. He's made some good trades. He makes good trades. I'll give him that. But I mean,
so be in charge of what you're good at. Bring in somebody that actually can draft. I mean, I rather kept Dorsey for that.
That's a good point.
Wouldn't have took the second fiddle job, and I also think, why not delegate as a head coach? All these idiot things keep happening. Too many men on the field, bad clock management, whatever it is.
Illegal shifts.
Let fucking the dude call the plays that he's picking to at least try for a couple games, because what you're doing is not fucking working.
No, dude.
That goes back to what I said. There's no cohesiveness, and they can't mesh. And Stefanski needs to set that shit aside and say, I need to be the head coach of this team because we're at Freddie Kitchens level discipline right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
It's awful. It's like, dude, put your fucking head coach hat on and be the head coach and let Dorsey call the plays. And if they suck, fire his ass.
And my other question is, where the fuck is Vrabel? I mean, is the dude saying
that dude's hiding right now? He's like, I don't know nothing about this. They never hired me. They never hired me.
Bring that guy on the sideline game day.
Who's that double that looks like me?
I mean, it has turned to shit. That dude should be on the sideline.
All right, here's what I want to know.
In whatever role.
I want to know, when you're Larry the Wolf, we need to hear from you, buddy. When you're watching this game on Sunday, did you watch the game? You didn't have to.
I watched as much as I could, as lately has been the thing, as much as I could tolerate.
Yeah.
So you're watching this game. I want to know what's going on in the Wolf's mind when you're watching this game. Like, what are you thinking about the most? What are the words coming out of your mouth? Like, what are you like? I want to know. Like, what are you thinking?
When I watch these teams?
Yeah. What's that dialogue like? What does that sound like?
Fucking Browns, fucking Jets. That's what I say. I watch this shit. That's exactly. Why did he get? But when you guys had me on the very first time last year as a guest, I said these two teams they build us up to let us down. 110 or whatever combined seasons of not even a fucking whiff of a Super Bowl, let alone a win. And that's not by accident.
Yeah,
bad organizations made bad. And Jeff, I know about the group at the top, and I believe in you with that. I do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't prevent us from getting into the dance, at least to the playoffs, or being consistently a good team. I was looking at something. I just saw a statistic, and I'm not. So anyway, I get very frustrated. But your frustrations as Browns fans are far different than what Jets fans are dealing with, because the frustration with Jets fans is that they are losing winnable games. They lost the game last week on a missed field goal at the end by 1 point. They had no business. They had 10 days to get ready for. It was horrific coaching by Robert Saleh. So good. He's gone. And there's a whole line of bullshit
riddance
with
to
that
him.
that's going on. There's stuff going on with discrimination all of a sudden. Because he was the first Muslim American coach hired. Now he's been fired. And he got way longer than a lot of other guys would have gotten with his record, 20-36 or whatever. It's not like they didn't give him a chance. And they broke the bank with Joe Douglas has been loading up the Jets with whoever the hell the guy wanted. And he keeps making excuses. And he was another one of those guys that came in with the big comments, all gas, no brakes before he did shit. And then the next thing was he was keeping receipts. Where the hell are the receipts now?
Yeah.
36. You stink. And that they escorted him out of the building today and didn't let him say goodbye. But then the other thing is they play a very strange game against the Vikings. They're down 17-0 in the first quarter, and they managed to come back and make it a 6-point game and nearly win it at the end. So the frustrations with them is a talented team that is absolutely horrifically miscoached.
Absolutely another version of that. All right, real quick before we go on, joining us, our special guest Shaggy Snodgrass. What's up, Shag?
Hey, what's up, Shags?
Can you hear us, man? He's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
I lost him. He was there. All right, we lost him.
What?
He's gonna have to figure out.
I want to follow up, Big Boy, since you asked me. I just saw this. The Browns are 75, 140, and 1 for a 3.347 average winning percentage, I should say, since Haslam brought the team in 2011, making them the losingest team in the NFL over the last 14 years. They have had 7 head coaches and 2 playoff appearances during that time.
Yeah, I mean, I know where you're going with this, and this is where I like this conversation. I do believe that our ownership is a huge part of the problem, and I think that it gets overlooked a lot because I'll tell you what they did. I'll tell you what the Haslams, in my opinion, kind of did real quick. For a while there, remember in the beginning, they were always interfering, and it was always making the news, and it was always, he was almost like a Jerry Jones there. It seemed like he was going to be there for a little while. And then he kind of like all of a sudden you just kind of didn't hear about them very much anymore. Every once in a while, a little thing or there, but they kind of figured out that they were better off kind of like staying out of the spotlight. The stadium thing, all of a sudden you see the Haslams again and stuff. They were very instrumental in the whole Baker Mayfield situation. I think that there's a lot of things that the ownership has misfired on. I think Andrew Berry is Jeff is pointing out may not have been as great of a hire as everybody thought. And now that the time is telling what the situation is, that's a Haslam situation. He hires the GM.
Yeah. Well,
so there's a lot of things you can look at as far as ownership here, and I will agree with ownership is a huge part of the problem, if that's what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, Dan has brought up before Bill Callahan. And like a lot of coaches who've done both, been with both teams, Bill Callahan did a tour of duty with both the Jets and the Browns, and neither one of them could hang on to him. And both of them need help on offense. They had the guy, and they couldn't keep it. They couldn't figure out how to keep him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Shanahan was another dude they had, and that was kind of ownership mangling again. GM ownership, I think it was probably ownership mingling on stuff, doing stuff on the field, trying to get things to happen, and certain people with integrity like a Shanahan and an ego like a Shanahan say, fuck you, I'll go fucking do it somewhere else. Or I don't have these kind of things going on. You see how much control Shanahan has over that 49er team. I mean, that's what he wanted, and that team's always good. He's a great-minded football mind. He's a great coach. He's one of the few out there that I even consider a great coach anymore. I remember when the league was loaded with good coaches, there's just a few, it seems like right now, that are really sustainably good. You have good seasons, that's one thing, but it's another thing to be a sustain, like a Tomlin, love or hate the Steelers, the guy, it's been around and he wins.
Well, I think,
every year.
To your point on that, I think the very best owners are the ones who understand that they hire people who know more than them about football, the business of football. They know business, the commerce of running the organization and the brand, but they hire football people and they let them run it. Those are the best owners. the ones that interfere. I mean, Jerry Jones is that. I mean, he drove Parcells nuts, and he just keeps wanting to put in guys. He's like He's like Al Davis got that way when his later years, and you have a lot of owners that think they know football better than football guys.
Yeah, right. That's true.
And that doesn't typically work out. You know, they force, and probably with both these teams, there's a good possibility that both the the picks and quarterback that they both made in recent years were pushed on their coaches.
Well, I agree. No, dude, that is such a great fucking point right there. I do think that is Stefanski's. I mean, if I'm going to say anything in defense of Stefanski, I don't know that he picked this motherfucker, and I don't think that he would have picked this motherfucker. And I ain't got nothing against Watson. I do think that Watson, in the right situation, is a great quarterback. I don't think Stefanski puts him in the right situation. That's just the way I look at it. I don't think that works. I don't think he works on this team with the way they run him.
Stefanski needs a Kirk Cousins to run his offense the way it needs to be run. That's his biggest success story, and Cousins is still lighting it up at 38 years old, and Deshaun Watson is no Kirk Cousins.
Bill O'Brien knew how to work Watson. He understood how to run that offense before that guy, and that guy shined in Houston.
And that's how the Browns should be playing.
But they don't. They don't.
And playing to his strengths, not Stefanski's ego.
But I will say this: whatever, I don't know what in the fuck you call what they're running right now, dude. I have no clue what you call this offense, because he looked way better. He looked way better in Stefanski's other offense. He looked way better last year. When he played last year, Watson looked way better. Okay, he looked better. The team looked better. Everything about the team was better when they were trying to get cute and do his bullshit.
The play calls are absolute garbage. You don't run on first and second down and gain 3 yards.
This is their new offense. Whatever the fuck they're trying to do, and you're trying to run the ball and establish the run without a play action. No play action.
Yeah.
There's
no run
shotgun. What are you doing a shotgun for with Watson? I don't even understand that at all. I'm like, I don't get this
backfield.
Shit.
I mean,
but if he's gonna constantly be in a shotgun, he better be ready to fucking run all the time. He's a running back. In football, these guys do in these shotguns all the time are like a running back passer combo. That dude better not be running all over the place. I'll tell you that right now. He needs to fucking chill the fuck out. He got his shoulders smashed again. They came right up and blasted that thing. And they saw the opportunity and they took it. They're going to do it every time. And so, like, dude, stay the fuck behind the line and throw the football.
I think his shoulder ain't 100%.
I just don't think.
I don't think it has. I don't think it has been ever since the surgery, and I think it's causing him. And I'm not making excuses for Deshaun Watson. Before you're making excuses. No, I'm not. I think it's causing him to not trust his arm strength like he normally would, and I think it's fucking with his accuracy. I think it's fucking with his headspace. You know, especially when you're getting blitzed all the time, and it's like all of a sudden you got nobody, you got no protection, and he's not as fast as he was. He's clearly lost a step.
Yeah.
Because now, before in the old days, he would take off and he'd be running around and making, this and that, making people miss, getting 8 yards. Now he's running around trying to make plays and they're hitting him before he gets to the line of scrimmage. And it's like,
it's not pretty. It's not. No. It's so bad. It's almost like really unwatchable, I guess. By the way, joining us, Shaggy. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Shag?
Hey, man. What's up,
How you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
We lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I got troubles with this Chrome browser,
Oh, I got you.
Standard technical difficulties.
Shag's from Bessemer Saints. He's also in the Rick Ray band. You guys know who Rick Ray is. And awesome bass player, one of the best. And thought it'd be fun to have come on with us. Shag's always got very interesting perspectives on everything. So I thought it would be a lot of fun having you on. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're just freaking smashing the Browns like they deserve.
Yeah, I can tell. There's lots to smash.
Yeah. We're trying to. We're trying to figure it out. Really, I mean, like, honestly, we're just trying to all sit back and say, okay, how did suddenly a team that looked pretty damn good last year, the entire team as a whole, has completely just soured and rotten. And you
They-
can't really.
They
Okay,
believe
I
they're
can give
hot.
you 3 words. No running game.
Oh, see, we when we brought that up too, they can't run.
It's
Right.
across
Can't
the
run.
board. It's across the board. The defense buys their own hype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the defense outside of JOK, number 6,
Yeah.
there's really not a lot going on behind the line, behind the defensive line. Okay.
True.
The secondary is pretty good, but like in that middle section between 3 and about 10 yards, outside of JOK, there's nothing going on.
Think about it. He's the only one wearing a Guardian helmet, and he's the only one trying.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Uh,
right, dude. Our
I-
defensive backs have not been good.
I will say, I will give Grant Delpit a little bit of credit, and I was really hard on Grant Delpit when he came up, but he has played out. He has played very well this year. I will give him that. He's been one of the few that have come to play. Each time I've seen him, he's made tackles. He's been wrapping people up. He's not whiffing. He's. I will extend the olive branch to Grant Delpit. You proved me wrong, but now he's hurt again. So now it's like, here we go again. Same
Yeah.
old shit.
Dan, that's commendable. You gave credit where credit is due, and I think we probably all need to collectively apologize to Joe Flacco because clearly we all crapped on him last episode, and he came out and he's having.
I think he watched the fucking show, and that pissed him off. Yeah, that was it. He was like, "Oh yeah, you little fucks."
Came out and he had a hell of a game.
He had a hell of a game. I mean, like, what the fuck?
He did lose though to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I know, which is crazy. It literally makes no sense that you have those kind of numbers and lose, but whatever.
I mean, Joe Burrows is having a great season statistically. He's doing everything he could possibly do, and the Bengals are what, 1-4?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
same as us.
our misery loves company.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with the Ravens. I mean, like I'm watching Jackson just go crazy every time I watch the Ravens. The dude looks like he's unstoppable, and it's not like they're running away with anything this season either.
They barely beat Cincy.
I know. It's really been a weird year. I thought it was
players are supposed to do. They're supposed to step the fuck up and do what and lead the others when they're in a slump. The great players are supposed to step up and do what those guys are doing.
You're right.
You know what?
You're absolutely right.
Something funny that McLeod said this morning. They're 1-1 in the AFC. It's like, yeah, well, you're still 1-4.
Jaden Daniels is top 5 quarterback. That's what Blake says. What's up, Blake? Thanks for watching.
So far, through 5 games, we'll see if he can sustain it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, dude, and that's what I was saying. It's all about, especially quarterbacks, they're like pitchers. And baseball. Once they figure you out.
Look at C.J. Stroud last season; he was amazing, and then he got concussed and was out for a little while. And I don't know, they just lost the game pretty bad.
Hell, Josh Allen has been mortal the last 2 weeks. It's like, and he just got a concussion too. It's like what. Mahomes hasn't been lighting it up like he did in the past.
But he wins as long as
he does win. He does win.
And as long he gets that interference call, but he wins, dude.
Yeah, he does.
So I got a question.
Go ahead, man.
When was the last time we had a Browns quarterback that lasted the entire season?
It's a very good question. We gotta look that up. Who's got the ability to look that up? Because do you know the answer to that?
Did Baker play all of 2020?
Baker played all of 2020. That was the last time, and that was the Freddie Kitchens. That
got him hired. That's what got him. Yeah, that's what got him hired.
That was 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was wondering that myself. Because a lot of these quarterbacks, they're getting beat up. They're getting beat up in games all the time, and some of them are going to go down before the season's over. And health matters. Health matters when you get towards the end of a season. You wind up with half your line out. You wind up with half your secondary out. You wind up with your quarterback out. It's really kind of the last man standing in a lot of ways.
Absolutely,
Health is everything, and that's why we suck right now because we have no real viable offensive tackles. I mean, the guy on right tackle, he may be coming around a little bit. Maybe he's getting healthier, but he started out terrible.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't. I just, I don't know. But
The reason this matters is because the longer, the reason this matters is because the longer you make an offensive lineman hold his block, the more likely he is either to lose it or get hurt get hurt or get your quarterback hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
And,
I mean,
point. Very good.
it's entirely the situation.
and Watson has been definitely really, really bad at making his offensive lineman stretch and try and hold blocks for 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does hold onto the ball a long time. He does. He has been. He has been. I mean, and there's a whole lot of reasons you can point to for all the things that go on. Except that here's the deal: it doesn't matter. Like nobody in this team is producing right now. Not anyone. I mean,
Right.
really.
Why aren't they running screens? Why aren't they doing things that work?
I don't know. I have not seen any screens.
Stefanski wants to reinvent the wheel instead of delegating and letting the OC coach.
Well,
he should be head coach only. If Haslam had a brain, he'd demand he was only head coach.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
At this point, it's the only logical answer. And I like Stefanski, I really do. But you got to give it up. It ain't working. Your offense is garbage. Your quarterback is playing like dog shit. Your line is dog shit. Your receivers are your whole unit is dog shit. And
if you can't give up that you think you're this amazing offensive coordinator, then just be that, because you're not a good head coach. I mean, he's got coach of the year twice. I think that's a charity move. They just want to give somebody and let it inflate their heads so they're so much more full of themselves.
Let me ask you a question, Jeff. You bring up a good point, and I've been thinking about this. Do you think that by winning 2 Coach of the Year trophy awards, that kind of like handcuffs the Browns as far as firing him right away? So in other words, now that he's won these awards, how does anybody say we're going to fire that? That's the problem.
The thing is, they're going to say it can't be his fault. He's coach of the year.
This is my point.
Should have been Buffalo's head coach the first time, and I don't know what last year is about. Is Schwartz like resting on his laurels too now because suddenly defense is shit?
Myles Garrett we got to start talking about him because he ain't holding his weight.
I've been talking about him, Dan. He didn't deserve Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Alex Wright is done for the year, and who else do they really have? Zadarius Smith has like 1 at the most 2 good plays a game.
Yeah, what happened to him too? What happened to Zadarius Smith too? Like that guy's gone.
I mean, they let Isaiah Smith go. Are they going to ever draft a good defensive end or anybody on the line?
But Jeff, how can they?
Ika's gone. The guy that was dog shit.
This is the point that I've always said with you guys that with the whole Watson thing is that whether the money is not the issue, it's mortgaging your draft picks.
Yeah,
3 number ones. What can you draft when you give away? Now, here's an opportunity that they have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying they never should have signed him. They never should have traded for OBJ. Imagine what the team would be. Yeah. The guy that destroyed them 2 weeks ago would maybe be a Brown right now.
Well,
those are two.
Both our favorite teams make a lot of bad draft choices, that's for sure. But here's a way, I agree with your point about Stefanski. Saleh you could dump because if he got coach of the year, they'd be stuck with him. But, they can't. They could find, thank God. And that's the first time Woody Johnson in his 25 years has ever canned a coach mid-season. And he deserved it. They can't do that with Stefanski, and they shouldn't, in fairness, because maybe he did get saddled with something that he didn't want to leverage or mortgage the future on with 3 draft picks. But you know how they can make it good because they're stuffed with Stefanski either way, and they probably should be? Take Myles Garrett and put him on the marketplace and get some of those draft choices back because he's not playing. He has value right now as the reigning defensive player of the year. Put him on the block like the Raiders are trying to do with Devontae Adams.
Well, I think Devontae and Myles Garrett are two different players.
When's Garrett going to be worth more? I mean, they do have to do something.
They're not going to trade Myles Garrett. I mean, I understand. I totally understand.
They got to do something. And then Barry would blow the picks.
They're not
That-
gonna
If they-
do that.
That's the problem with that is you're talking about you losing 3 first-round picks, but when has Andrew Berry ever drafted in the first round that has ever done anything great?
Yeah.
No.
You know?
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't building, unlike the Jets, who were building for now, and they're going to go all in on everything right now. You know, and so, and they only gave two second round picks up for Rodgers. Granted, he's a lot older, okay, but he's a little more proven. But they're a win now team. The Browns, I thought when they got Watson, they were building. They don't have to win this year, right? How are they going to build an offensive line?
I don't know, dude. You're right.
What do they have? They mortgaged everything on one player. They have the most expensive offense in the league. I know it's weighted heavily on one guy.
Aren't they second oldest?
But yeah. So what are they going to do? Where are you going to pick guys up from? All 5th, 6th round surprises?
You're not.
I mean, I'd be scouring practice squads right now. You don't need 5 receivers on your practice squad. It's like,
Yeah.
get some offensive linemen in there, see if they can play.
Yeah.
man.
Well,
Yeah, the problem with offensive tackles is, even in free agency, they're some of the most expensive players you can get on an offense.
Yeah, there's so much now. You're right. Tackles are so expensive. They've become so expensive because they're such a rare commodity. These really good tackles. There's only a few. I mean, they're hard to find these guys. You know, like basically, if your kid's a big eater, mom, you might want to try to get him to play some offensive tackle.
I mean,
That's like a good career move.
If Barry's such a good trader, if our scouting staff is worth a dime, there's people on practice squads that are better than what we have right now.
Well, the last first-round pick that we took was Jed Wills, who was a right tackle. We decided it would be a good idea to move him to left tackle, and we've seen how well that's panned out.
Yeah,
Terrible.
it has not worked out. And then to correct it, we take Jones, which is another right tackle.
He's good though. He's just
Well, we already have Conklin,
injury's
who
not-
is a right
The
tackle.
injury's
tackle.
not healed yet. He's not healed yet, and he stopped Watt last season. So he's the only guy I believe in. Maybe.
Well,
he'll be
no,
better
you're right, dude.
When he gets back more to his playing weight.
I don't know what it is, but I'm just telling you guys, I don't think it's any like one player thing. I think like what the fuck's gotten into everybody? It's like a disease that's creeped into everyone's bones and just kind of like festered. And you just look at other Hopkins is missing extra points.
And field goals.
Our punter, that son of a bitch is solid. I wouldn't trade that guy for
MVP,
no.
Yeah,
fucking
right there.
body.
Yeah.
Oh
Our
my
punter.
God, dude, that dude's amazing.
I mean,
Like,
He won us the Jacksonville game
dude, did you see him flip the field?
single-handedly.
He flips that field and he hits that coffin corner. Dude, what an amazing. We don't talk about that guy enough. That's our best goddamn player. Is our punter.
I think a lot of guys are collecting their checks, and where's the fucking heart? Because it doesn't show up. If everybody gave a shit, they'd be winning games.
Yeah, man. No doubt, dude. They just, there's something wrong. I mean, they just look terrible.
Has anybody,
Maybe.
has any of the players made a comment, or are they just all?
Oh, they're the best defense, according to the guy on the radio this morning.
Well, that's funny because the PFF put out. I know you guys like the PFF. They put out their first quarter All-Pro defense. There's not a Brown on it.
Then it shouldn't be.
No, there shouldn't.
They are not good.
And to my point, there's two guys from the Jets on it: DJ Reed, cornerback, and Quincy Williams, linebacker. Those guys have stepped up and they're starting to be vocal. But they're setting an example by both having tremendous games, in losing efforts. So now they've earned the right to fall out.
Speaking to that, I know we got no joke you back, but this guy caught his first pass in the NFL and his first touchdown in the Raiders game. He was cut today.
Yeah, what was his name? Is anyone remember?
Whiteheart.
Whiteheart.
Whiteheart. I remember him.
It's like
yeah.
somebody that's actually done something.
Well, yeah, he's got production on it. He's actually got like a number underneath some of the statistics in offense because there ain't many dudes that's got like touchdown catches or anything. I mean, we don't score any.
Well, hell, we lost our long snapper last week. I don't know if you guys realize that.
Yeah, it's been rough.
And he's been damn good.
Yeah, he's another one of our best players. our long snapper, and our punter. Dude, we've been here before. It doesn't this feel weirdly familiar to
we're
like
definitely
about
not a special team.
no, but I mean, like, this is an oddly familiar feeling that I remember from some time back when I was saying my punter, man, the punter's really good on this team. Like, what? I mean, I remember this again. It's like we've gone full circle back to this point again, where that's the best guy we got is the punter or the kicker when it was Dawson. I mean, it's like,
and then Josh Cribbs, who's a kick returner. Right? We
yeah,
love
Josh
Cribbs. And then,
see him.
Yeah.
And then as fans, we love them.
You get to see him a lot because we're the 3-and-out kings.
Oh my God, dude!
Oh yeah,
They get a lot of practice.
Not supposed to know your punter that well.
Go ahead.
Whether you go 2 for like 15 on third downs.
Well, every third down is over 5 yards. Every second down is 10 or 9, maybe 8 if it's a good 2-yard run.
And let's run forward some more on first down. Great idea.
And let's go for it on every fourth down when you produce no yards.
Yeah, even Foreman. But he's like shooting himself in the foot with that too. Let's bring Winston out on third and 1 instead of trying to run a real play and not bring him out on 4th and 1 to do the sneak.
And I don't even understand why you just don't let Watson do the sneak at that point. I see there's certain things here I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, dude.
It's ridiculous.
If you're just gonna do a 1-yard quarterback sneak, that's not where his shoulder is going to get fucking demolished. He can do that. That dude's an athletic guy, man. He can make a yard. Why do they bring in Winston? I don't even understand. I really don't understand it. If you want a quarterback who's just going to be a bully, why didn't we just get Flacco back in there? And he's always good for a yard. That guy falls and it's a yard.
If you're going to do that, bring in DTR on a Wildcat at least.
Yes.
Mix
I don't understand why.
Here's another sneak.
I don't get the Winston thing. I don't. There's so many things going on. I just don't understand. It just looks atrocious. It just once again, it's embarrassing, and that's the worst fucking part. You know what it is? You know that's always the worst fucking part. Is you're embarrassed to watch them. You sit there and you're like, and then there's always somebody else in the fucking room that doesn't really like the Browns, or they hate Deshaun Watson, or they're a Pittsburgh fan, the worst. And then they're like, I thought Baker had a great game. Did you see what he did? You're just gonna fucking kill that person. That's what you have to endure now. That's the worst fucking part.
By the way, thank you, Cowboys.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the one shining grace.
Dude, they almost won that game though too, dude. It's incredible.
And Mayfield fucked up on his 2-minute drill on national television and basically handed Atlanta a game they should have lost. So,
that's really Mayfield, though.
Yep. Oh, that is really Mayfield.
He'll kick some ass and then he'll choke when it matters most.
Well, I don't know if you guys been watching the weather, but it might not matter for Mayfield much longer if that tornado hits Tampa Bay, because that does not look good for Tampa Bay right now.
No, it doesn't.
Not at all. So anyways, not to get off the subject, but real quick, I do want to throw this in there. I know this is the Brown show, but the fucking Guardians are fucking in the playoffs, and I know that pisses off a lot of people that they changed.
Vogt made his first bad mistake. He should not have extended.
Well, it turned in hindsight, it wasn't the greatest idea.
He only did that one other game, and that was bad too.
I can't say that. I can't blame anything on the pitching. They went 17 straight innings of shutout baseball. 17 innings.
He should have Walters come in and had Clase do his normal thing.
But Jeff, they didn't score a run. Like you got to score. You got to. The whole problem with that game is they didn't score a run.
The point of it is we have the best bullpen. We win against their not as best bullpen, and he made our bullpen less.
I know he did, but I wasn't even that swift about taking Boyd out. I'll be honest with you. All right, listen, I don't want to get too far off. I don't want to get too far off the subject, but I just want to say
the Cavs were only down by 2 in this preseason game. they look better.
Oh, we're losing people. People are shutting off on us. I'm looking up there like, fuck them.
BigBri.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Before you shift out of baseball, because I don't know jack shit about
I'm out of baseball. I was going
to say, though, the only baseball thing that is a shame, I'm sure everybody saw Pete Rose passed away, right?
Yeah.
And how that guy, and I don't even care about baseball, but I remember as a kid, the Big Red Machine with Johnny Bench and those guys down there. How the hell? It's funny. Hall of Fame. The guy's arguably one of the most famous baseball players or athletes the last 60 years. I mean, everybody knows Pete Rose's name because of his good, the great things he did on the field. And then
Charlie Hustle.
the gambling, and yet he's not in the Hall of Fame.
It's stupid.
Because someone decided he shouldn't be in. And that's just what a shame. What a shame.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
There's
It is
worse
a
humans.
silly situation.
It partly has to do with the commissioner.
Yeah.
It partly has to do with the commissioner of baseball that banned him for life.
Yeah.
And then that guy died.
Right
So
after.
everybody figured out that everybody thought that like reversing his decision was somehow a disrespect to the commissioner's memory.
There are
So
worse.
now they're both gone. So like, can we reset it to 0?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's worse human beings in all of the Hall of Fames than Pete Rose.
And in the meantime, now you got sports books and baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
And scoreboard sponsored by Caesars and sponsored by FanDuel. It's sponsored by
Every commercial is them, dude.
Yeah.
Every commercial.
MGM,
Gambling problem?
Yeah.
Call 1-800-GAMBLING. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
What a shame. What a shame with that guy. And Shaggy, nice to meet you, and thank you for that tidbit on that. I didn't know that.
Nice to meet you, sir. Well, yeah, it was Bart Giamatti, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
Bart
remember that
Giamatti.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame. That should,
Yeah.
how many
But
years do you have to do your penance? The guy
It
said,
should
"Hey,
be
I'm sorry, I
reversed.
made a mistake."
Yeah. Well, I
It
mean,
should be
and
reversed.
yeah, and wasn't. I mean, he was such like the best. He was like in that era. I mean, to me, in baseball, Babe Ruth, best ever. Period. End of story. There's nobody. You really can't even argue the dominance of that dude at that era. I mean, he just absolutely dominated insanely in any sport. There's nothing like Babe
A
Ruth.
lot of it doesn't make sense. Mel Harder should be in the Hall of Fame too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got
Joe Jackson.
He was as good as Bob Feller.
I just hate when
Pretty much
any of the governing bodies make an example, trying to show their virtue signaling bullshit by making an example of a one-off guy. The Jim Thorpe not getting his, Olympic medal for 100 whatever the hell years later. It's this shit's been going on where there's a governing body at the top. They're holier than thou, and they make a couple of pariahs of a few guys here and there. Like, look what good policing we do of our play. Meanwhile, they got sexual assault, women beaters, every other fucking thing in these things, drunkards, gamblers, and every other guys on coke. But he gambled. We'll keep him out.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
You
It's
know?
weird.
Yeah,
it's so weird. I mean, it is. It's so hypocrite. The
It's
hypocrisy is
critical.
insane. Absolutely.
Well, the problem with having the gambling so close to the sport now is pretty soon you're not going to be able to trust the results.
We're already there.
The
Yeah,
integrity-
you're already
integrity-
there. And a lot of people are already there, but I'm telling you, it's going to matter more and more and more.
100%.
You're 100%. You're 100%. I'm totally right there with you.
It's
Hey,
why
Dan.
it's why it was never put in there. It's why it was always separate. That's why they wouldn't allow it, because to keep the integrity of these games. And now they all caved. And like you said, it's a matter of within 5 years the NFL is wrestling. It's within 5
Yes,
years you're going to
already
watch
is.
it with that same
Well-
tongue-in-cheek thing where you're going to go, well, it's still entertainment. And
Hey,
and
Dan, were
Yeah.
you the one that shared the Chiefs end zone today?
No, I didn't. That wasn't me.
Yeah, somebody made the Chiefs' new end zone, and it says refs.
I saw that. No, I did. I saw that on.
I
Facebook.
wish I would have. That sounds like something I would do.
Yeah.
Can I,
Well, it
can I
just-
drop a,
it's getting bad.
since we're talking this topic right now, can I drop a stat on you guys?
Yeah,
Please.
go ahead.
I was
man.
talking with my uncle yesterday. My uncle who was more like an older brother. He took me to my first game back in 1970. I love him dearly. He's the one that got me the Johnny Unitas autograph as well. So I was talking to him, and he says, "Yeah, I like the Chiefs. I've been following them." He's, "I like Mahomes," and I about lost my mind. I said, "How can you go with him?" I said, "Let me give you a statistic, Uncle Ed. Mahomes has had 22 interceptions overturned in his 6-year career. Now, he's always getting compared to Brady because we've already talked about that. Goodell's obsession with having goats. Everybody's the GOAT right now. Mahomes has had 22 interceptions overturned in his 6-year career. Tom Brady had 16 overturned in 22 seasons.
Jeez.
That's almost the statistical probability of that is almost impossible.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Almost like the Big Bang. It's so improbable.
Entire bullshit.
Yeah, I mean it's getting bad. It's getting bad. It's getting bad, and it's getting so noticeable.
They can't even hide it. No,
That's
And
the
they-
it's
problem.
obvious bad calls, and they stay.
And then they get together on the side, and then they still get it
don't
wrong.
even they don't even apologize during the week anymore and say they made a mistake.
Yeah,
but everybody can see it.
And they come at the most opportune times for them. And, I hate it because as a kid, I liked the AFL. I liked the Lenny Dawson, Otis Taylor, Willie Lanier Chiefs. They sucked for so long. I was happy to see them make have a revival, but not when it's unfair. Nobody likes that.
Thanks, baby.
Dude,
Yeah.
she's been chatting like crazy. I finally threw one up.
Yeah.
No, it's been crazy, but it has been a crazy thing. And like I was saying this on the couple episodes ago, some of these penalties are huge game changing type penalties, like interference, and people just don't get it. I guess sometimes I try to tell this to people, I'm like, and they look at me funny, and I'm like, interference can be a 50-yard motherfucking penalty in the NFL. Okay, if you don't understand how that can change the entire game in the last 5 minutes of any game, how that literally can flip a game over, and just like that, and since there's basically interference on just like holding on every single pass play, there's some sort of contact that you can call interference on both guys half the time. You can call it either way. So these
that arm jostling.
Yes. So
as they run down the field.
That alone gives these referees every opportunity to call anything they want right there. You got two guys wrestling. I can call offensive if I want to. I can call defensive, or I can call nothing. I don't have to do it. So you literally now have put the game in the ref's hands. And I mean, like, and here's the problem. Even if the refs aren't doing anything because of the gambling, now because of the call, if you don't like it, then what are you gonna say? Oh, fuck it, it's fixed. And you see it all the time. It's fixed. It's fixed. It's fixed. It's fixed.
It is.
There it is.
It's getting like watching the Olympics over the years, where you watch, I don't know, figure skating or gymnastics, something. It's the Russian and the Chinese judge. You got to throw
the French judge.
The French judge always going to throw in a wacky score, and you say, well, and you knew they were going to do it. And before when the Cold War, the East Germany used to do that shit all the time too. 10.0, okay, yeah, and you knew it was coming. And
that one goal line play in 2020, we were in the FC Championship game.
No doubt about that.
Had they called that the right way, and they took it away.
Well, and okay, so let's look at that play real quick. And it is Kansas City, ironically, right? I mean, so let's like that was one of them things where I watch that and I say, okay, I understand certain things you're blinded by a player. You can't see certain things in the scrum in the middle of a goal line play. Sometimes you don't see those. That play was so completely different than anything like that whatsoever.
Yeah,
that was the focal point of everything. There was nobody but eyes on that play. That dude literally flies through the air with his helmet first and smashes him.
His
I
arms
mean,
were
like
at-
it is
his
literally
arms were
the
at his
definition
sides.
of the whole thing. It's the definition of what the rule was. And they all they cared about is where the ball was, how the ball got fumbled out, and that was all. They're like, well, we got to discuss that.
Yep. the hit with just
mean,
his helmet, no arms.
I still don't
That's
believe
not
that.
called at
sometimes.
all.
I'm
That's
like, how?
bullshit.
And again, those are huge calls in a game at a time where these are things that, and so
Think about it. At that point, Higgins would have been a hero instead of gone the next season.
ain't that wild? That's a very good point too, Jeff. That is a very good point. How all sports is like this.
Well, I'll go back 2 weeks with the Raider game, and the Browns are starting to mount a little bit of a comeback. And Deshaun gets loose and he throws a deep ball to wide open Cooper for a touchdown. Right before Cooper catches the ball, the ref throws the flag for a hold.
And you
And
see
the replays are showing it. It's like, where's the hold? That looks pretty.
I mean, he barely touched his jersey. He wasn't tugging on it. It was like trivial and wouldn't have changed the play had he done it or not.
again, though.
They fully call him when they want to.
again, you do. You
My
see guys-
guideline is whenever the play changes directions, there's probably a hold going on. It's just
Absolutely.
whether they choose to call it or not.
That's exactly right. I mean, like
There's holding on every play.
Yeah.
some sort of it.
Unless you're
Again,
Kansas City.
Yeah. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It makes it impossible to watch. I mean, who knows how many games would have gone differently? The Chiefs should be 1-4.
It is making it harder and harder to watch
Instead of
football.
5-0.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's-
like
it's stupid.
but there's a lot of this that goes on. It's not just them. It's the Chiefs that are the most obvious, and I think it's partially because they're the most aggravating because of Taylor Swift and all the other bullshit that
I
goes
don't
along
care.
with them.
I don't care about her at all. It's just.
Well, I
it's
think
like,
a lot of people
just,
do. Though.
Just hand them the fucking trophy if you're going to make the season worthless.
Did you guys happen to see they have the show with the two Manning brothers where they watched the game
Yeah.
and they
Yes.
watched highlights and they had Bill Belichick on and
No.
and
I
you
love
know
Bill.
he's rumored right now that the Jets there's the rumor that he might be
The guy.
in the back. Vrabel was the rumored guy before the firing.
That makes
Just so you
sense.
guys
Though.
know, but yeah, Belichick is the rumored guy.
I mean,
but they
it kinda
showed
makes
Belichick
sense.
and he's watching, and as soon as they went to Taylor Swift, he goes, ugh.
and
It's
how
really
old is that
funny.
dude's- Isn't that dude's girlfriend like 29?
Well, that's
Yeah.
some of these memes are like, yeah, Bill Belichick's reaction seeing a girl over 24 years old. You got to see it.
Wow.
It's really, you can't help himself. He just lets
The-
it
That's
spontaneously.
funny.
It's really funny.
Oh my God! All right, so who are we playing this week? I don't remember now. Who was it?
Eagles,
Oh
fly,
my
Eagles,
God,
fly.
So,
We're
so
about
we
to
got-
be 1-5. How fabulous!
yeah, that doesn't sound very good. Eagles. I mean, let's just be honest though. They've been struggling themselves. So
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, it's not like they're should just come in here and roll over. But okay, let's get this back in perspective. Every team we played has been struggling, or they suck, or like Dallas. I thought, man, they're gonna just go on and beat everybody, just like killed this season, and then they lost the next week. They got destroyed actually. So I think that we could lose to anybody at this point. I mean, like I'm pretty sure we might be right now playing the worst football maybe in
Which
in
brings
the
me
NFL.
me to my question: are we tanking?
I don't think you can tank with talent. I think you can only tank
Oh, they can.
if the players decide to. Oh, are you saying is this like a player tanking? I mean, I don't know that happens.
The players are collecting checks. They're not playing with any heart.
Well, I
mean-
agree they're not playing with heart.
I mean,
Why?
JOK is like the poster child of giving a fuck, and yeah, maybe Delpit is good sometimes, but a lot of them guys are going through the motions completely.
Who's in a
Yeah.
contract year? Is there anybody big
Isn't
in a
it-
contract?
Most of the team. I think
Isn't it a bit early to tank, though?
I think we're due to lose like 20
What-
some guys to free agency.
What's that? What's that, Shag? What'd you
Isn't
say?
it a little bit early to tank, though? I mean,
If
if you
you're
decide to
trying-
make a decision to tank in week 5, man, it's going to be a long fucking season thereafter.
If they were
I don't know.
if they would have brought in any backups at offensive tackle, I would have thought maybe they're not tanking, but they're tanking. They know those guys weren't ready. Hudson is a piece of garbage.
Turnstile.
I mean, he might be a great guy. He's not an offensive tackle.
No.
Yeah, that center guy ain't no good either. I see how he get pancaked on his back during this last game.
Like he wasn't even there, dude. He got.
Yeah.
He was like, ah.
Yeah, they're terrible.
What do you guys say, Larry?
Second oldest team in the league. Garbage.
Without Bill Callahan, Wyatt Teller was a practice squad guard. With Callahan, he got paid. And
Yeah.
now without him, he's back to being a practice.
It's a good point. I'd like, yeah, it's a good point. Brian.
He's got money, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, and Callahan didn't take it easy on the guys. I've heard that he was not the easiest coach to work with, but that's why he had great players.
Yep.
Yeah, they definitely miss him. I mean, there's no if anyone that thinks twice that guy wasn't worth whatever. I mean, they miss him, and there's no doubt. There's a lot of things that there's a lot of things going on here that have contributed.
I've been watching a lot of good movies because I exit the game very quickly. So I've been catching up on really good movies on my Sundays.
Oh man,
I
dude, it
can't- I
has
can't-
been
I-
weird, man.
I can't watch that shit, man.
Jeff,
like
I,
said,
get so
you-
depressed watching that shit. I got to go watch like a Hallmark Christmas movie 3 months
Yeah.
early just to try to get myself out of my depression.
Or a horror movie because it's something that's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
You know,
horrible.
I'm so sick in the
Yeah.
head though, because I actually sit there and I'll watch it, and I keep still thinking like somehow weird way. I'm like, I think they're gonna turn it around. I think they're gonna turn it around.
I'm the same way, Bri. I'm
It's
the
so
same way.
disgusting. And then when I'm done, I feel dirty. I
Yeah.
feel like when
I
I'm
mean-
done,
I mean-
I'm like,
I mean, think of-
I was
After the
I was
game's on
taking
after the
advantage
show, I had
of.
to. I was-
God.
You know what they did? It's like when you're a kid, you watch the Peanuts on cartoon or whatever on TV,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
Lucy tells Charlie Brown, "Kick the ball, Charlie Brown. I'm not going to pull the ball." And we're sitting there, we go kick the ball, and boom, she pulls it away.
It's exactly what it feels like.
But we
Time.
got we got a team full of Braylon Edwards. I mean, we're mounting this comeback drive, going down the field, and then all of a sudden Tillman forgets his hands in the locker room. I mean, how
I
can
know,
you
man. I
fucking
just
win?
drank my way through it. I drank my way through 99. I can drink my way through 24.
2 12-packs. Come on.
99. Woo. You've been drinking through 99 through 24.
Yeah, I know.
Correct.
It's been pretty rough for a long time, man. It's been
Go
hard.
Browns.
Oh,
Hey, that's
my
what's
God.
good about watching the Browns. It renders you inured to suffering. Nothing can hurt you the whole week after you've already been through the worst you're gonna get.
This is very true, man. This is very true.
I
All right,
bust out
guys.
the, I bust
ahead.
out the Campbells. I bust out the Campbells and put it in the pot and get it ready so I can have a soup or a bowl. Ain't no Super Browns happening.
No.
While,
no Super
while
Browns,
we're
man.
talking here, to be very serious, we're talking about football, which is entertainment, and it is a bummer because 2 weeks ago when we did our last episode, I tried to be the optimist and say, "Hey, look, guys, if our teams win the next 2 weeks, we'll feel good." And here, our two teams went 0-4 over the last 2 weeks. Bastards. So
Fuck 'em.
this is just football. We're just watching these guys for entertainment. The people who are really having suffering, God bless these people down in the southeast states who are going through all the bullshit they're going through right now. Football is irrelevant compared to what they're living through. So I hope to God they may. It's just a tragedy what's going on down there. Football
yeah,
is
man, that's a very good point. It is a very
Right.
good point. It does put things into perspective, for sure. A lot
I
of
got
things do.
I got some family and friends that are down in the Florida area, and they're all. Some of them think that they're okay, and they've had their prep precautions, and the others have hightailed it. I'm just hoping and praying that everything goes well, and we don't have any more fatalities or displaced people or any of that nonsense. We don't need any more bullshit.
Yeah, my
No.
brother was on the highway yesterday. They moved 118 miles in 5 hours, and
Yeah, I've heard a lot of these
all the
stories.
gas stations coming up were already out of fuel.
Well, that's what I keep hearing. I'm like, man, how do you even get out of there without gas? It's gonna be it's a mess. It's a real mess there, man.
there's
All
some
right.
good people trying to do work in the Carolinas. Thank God they're in there.
Well, that's
trying
still going on. I know, and
You
that's
know,
still going on.
It's a tragedy. So football puts football into perspective, right? And maybe we got to do Shaggy what you said. I don't drink, but maybe I'll take up drinking if this season doesn't get any better.
It helps, I'm telling you.
It helps at least, man. It does help.
Yeah.
Hey, Shaq, I want to thank you for coming, man. Join us. It was a little late, but better than ever. I mean, it was a good
Yeah.
time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
if you don't
Shaq.
mind, we'll ask you again. We'll come on if we keep doing these. If they keep losing, we're just going to end up stopping this podcast eventually. Be like, well, if they can't win, we ain't going to do it. Fuck it.
Then we can just talk about rock and roll again.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We just change this into a music podcast and really just
Let's
have a
do
lot
it.
of fun. Anyways, all right. So go Browns. I mean, I mean,
Sure.
I-
Why
I'm
not?
what else? What else are you
I'm-
going to say?
Yeah,
in
sure,
this-
why not?
I'm in the Snow Browns place.
Go Browns.
I changed it to an N.
I don't give them much hope against Philly, but whatever. That's the game they'll probably win. And
That's the game that they'll probably win because
yeah,
nobody,
and prove
nobody
us all
thinks they're
wrong.
shit.
Yeah, and
Watch them
somehow
finally
they-
throw for 300 yards, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Ah, what happened here?"
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
it's about building up the hopes. It's for that
It's so
inevitable letdown.
crazy.
So they got to get a
It's
couple.
so crazy. Oh, I'm not hoping. I have no hopes for Philadelphia beating them. I'm just saying that's how crazy the Browns are, and the season is that will be the game they win. A game they have absolutely no business winning. That'll be the one. So, anyways, probably not though. Most likely they'll get creamed like 45. It'll look like Ohio State beating up on the Kent. That's probably what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, guys. We're done here. Thanks again, Shaq, for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank my crew for coming on and hanging out here with our Pigskin and go Brown.
Hey, Brian, can I give you a quick plug real quick?
Go ahead, man.
Friday night, Cindy's Place in Medina, Made in America, takes the stage.
Oh yeah, right down the street from me here.
Yep. We will be playing for about 2 hours. There will be some of Bernie's students doing Iron Maiden songs for an hour before. I'll be playing with them too.
Oh,
so yeah.
House drummer.
Yep. I'll be making my money for sure.
Yeah, that's Friday, right? That's Friday. Yeah, I'm planning on coming up there. You know, I could almost walk to Cindy's from my house, so I plan on coming up there and hanging out with you, man. So
awesome.
I'll see you Friday. Yeah, it's a good band. Hell of a great band. All right, guys. Thanks again.
Right.
See you.
Take care.
All right, everybody.
Later, guys.
Later.
Here we go, brownies. Here we go.
Oh,